I was under the hood of a '97 Civic, halfway through replacing the alternator, when my phone buzzed in my back pocket. I wiped my hands on a rag, expecting it to be a customer or maybe my brother. Instead, it was Karen. Staying with my childhood buddy, Mason, for the week. He's having a tough time. Don't overthink it. That was the whole message. No, hey. No, hope this is okay. No question mark. Just flat. Like she was texting a coworker, not the guy she lived with. My name's Danny. I'm 31. I live in Dayton, Ohio, and I've been working as a mechanic since I was 19. Karen and I had been together for 2 years, and she'd been living at my place for the past 10 months. Not officially. She wasn't on the lease, didn't pay rent, didn't even pitch in for internet. Said she was saving up for a place of her own. But all I ever saw was new makeup, skincare hauls, and DoorDash charges on my card. And Mason? Mason was the guy who called her stunning at that 4th of July cookout last year, then followed it up with, "If I wasn't your friend, I'd shoot my shot." The guy who only texted her after 10 p.m., always with those winky emojis and remember when messages. She brushed it off like I was being sensitive. Now she's packing up and staying with him for the week. No warning, no conversation, just a matter-of-fact text telling me what's happening, and a passive-aggressive slap at the end. Don't overthink it. I texted back. Cool. Enjoy. Then I clocked out early, told my boss I had something personal going on. I wasn't angry, not in the yelling, throwing stuff kind of way. I just felt done. This wasn't new. It was just the clearest, loudest version of what had been happening for months. I got home around 4. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet, honestly, and that's when it really hit me how much of it she had taken over. Her ring light was still in the corner. Her 6 different shampoos in the shower. Half the drawers were stuffed with her leggings and crop tops. Kitchen table still had her laptop and sketchbook spread out like she owned the place. She never asked to move in. Just showed up 1 week, stayed the night. Then it was her toothbrush. Then her makeup bag. Then drawers. Then the closet. Like a slow-motion invasion. I kept telling myself it was temporary, that it meant something. But after that text, no, she'd made it clear. She wasn't asking. She was telling. And I was officially done pretending. I stood in the middle of the living room, took one last look around, and muttered out loud, "All right then." Then I grabbed some boxes from the hall closet and got to work. First thing I boxed up was the makeup tray from the bathroom counter. Labeled it in thick black Sharpie, "Makeup, fragile." Not because I cared about the products, but because I didn't want her accusing me of smashing her favorite highlighter or whatever. That's the kind of thing she'd twist into a sob story. Next came the clothes. Her side of the closet took up more space than mine. Dresses, jackets, shoes she never wore, shoes she wore too much. All of it into boxes, sealed and labeled. I even made a list on my phone, just in case she claimed I kept something. This wasn't about being petty. I wasn't throwing anything away or lighting it on fire. I just wanted the line drawn, clear. No room for, well, I thought I still lived here next week when she wanted to wander back in. I pulled out my laptop, changed the Wi-Fi password. She worked from home as a graphic designer, which basically meant she sat at the kitchen table in sweats and messed around in Photoshop between TikTok scrolls. She needed that internet more than I did. Then I started redirecting her mail. She had stuff coming almost daily, Amazon boxes, bank statements, random little boutique crap. Took 15 minutes online to set the forwarding address to her mom's place over on the west side. I wasn't trying to be a jerk. Her mom actually liked me, but it wasn't my job to hold her mail hostage. While I was at it, I went through my streaming services. Hulu logged her out. Prime kicked her off. Spotify gone. Changed every password, enabled 2-factor. I'd been paying for all of it. She'd just been riding along, building playlists and watching garbage reality TV under my name. I even updated my emergency contact. Used to be her. I switched it to my brother, Nate. Shot him a quick text just so he wasn't caught off guard. By midnight, everything was boxed, sealed, and lined up near the front door. Kitchen was wiped down. Bathroom was back to normal. The bedroom? Clean, quiet, empty on her side. Thursday morning, I woke up to silence. No Karen on the couch with her laptop. No coffee mug left in the sink. Just peace. The apartment looked like mine again. My phone buzzed. Cooking dinner for Mason. Buzzed again. Watching old sitcoms. He's a wreck. Another one. This week's been intense already. All delivered like casual updates. Like we were still in sync. Like she hadn't just ditched her boyfriend of 2 years to shack up with the guy who once called her unreal while drunk. I replied, "Sounds good. Cool. Take care." That was it. No questions. No emotion. Just sending her back the same energy she gave me. Nate called later that afternoon. "Hey, you good?" "Yeah. I'm better, actually." He paused. "You sure? You sound calm." Like, weirdly calm. "I've been done for a while," I said. "Just didn't have the proof until now." He let out this low whistle. "Karen messed around and found out." Yep. Another ping on my phone. "Going to the farmer's market tomorrow with Mason. He wants to get fresh stuff. Cook again." I didn't answer that one. I looked around my place. For the first time in months, I didn't feel like a guest in my own home. I felt clear-headed. No more guessing, no more gut feelings I had to swallow just to avoid a fight. She made her choice. Now I was making mine. I was halfway through reheating leftover chili when the door handle rattled. At first, I thought it was the neighbor's kid again, always pulling the wrong door. But then I heard it, keys jangling. The deadbolt clicked once, then again. Then silence. Then a loud knock. I walked over and looked through the peephole. There she was, Karen. Hair tied up, sunglasses on even though the sun was setting. Standing there like she had every right in the world to be on the other side of my door. I opened it halfway. Not wide. Just enough. She didn't smile. Didn't look shocked. Just gave me that annoyed face like I'd forgotten to take out the trash. "What's going on?" she said, trying to push the door open with her hand. I held it firm. "I changed the locks." Her eyebrows shot up. "Why the hell would you?" "You moved out," I said calm. "I assumed I should adjust accordingly." She blinked like she didn't hear me right, then stepped back and looked at the door like it betrayed her. "I didn't move out," she snapped. "I was helping a friend." I raised my eyebrow. "A friend you're cooking for. Sleeping at his place. Playing house for a week. Sure. You're being insane." "No," I said, still calm. "I'm being practical. You're not on the lease. You don't pay rent. You left without warning to live with another man. That's not a break. That's a move." She stared at me, jaw clenched. Then the gears shifted. "You're so controlling," she hissed. "This is exactly why I needed space. You can't handle not being in charge." I didn't flinch. Funny how needing space only kicked in after your buddy started texting you late at night again. "Oh my God," she groaned, rolling her eyes. "Steven is gay." I laughed. Couldn't help it. He dated Lisa for 2 years and tried to flirt with my coworker at the bar. Try again. That wiped the smug look off her face. She crossed her arms tight across her chest, lips pressed together like she was holding back a scream. I motioned toward the stacked boxes inside. "Want help carrying your stuff?" "I'm not taking anything," she said, voice sharp. "You don't get to kick me out of my own home." "My home," I corrected her. "And no one's kicking you out. You left. I just finished the job." Then came the shift. The waterworks. Just like clockwork. Her voice cracked. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I just didn't know how to bring it up. Mason was going through something, and I panicked. Right on cue." She stepped forward again, softer this time. "I still love you. I just needed time. You're overreacting." I stayed right where I was. "Karen," I said, "you didn't pack a bag for the night. You took your favorite pillows and your face steamer. You planned a whole week. That's not helping a friend. That's choosing someone else and hoping I'd just wait around." She snapped again, voice rising. "You are such a cold bastard. You think you're this hero, but you're just a bitter little man who couldn't handle a strong woman." "Cool," I said. "Is this the part where you want to start insulting me or crying again?" She glared, eyes wet, then pulled out her phone. "I'm calling Mason." Be my guest. She stepped back and put it on speaker. He locked me out, she said the second he picked up. Her voice cracked again, faker this time. I don't have anywhere to go. Can you come get me? I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. I didn't even try to stop her. 15 minutes later, a black Subaru pulled up. Mason got out looking nervous, like he'd rather be anywhere else. He approached slow, like maybe if he walked softly enough this whole thing would disappear. Hey man, he started. Can we talk? I cut him off. She's your problem now. His mouth opened, but I shut the door before he could get another word out. I stood there for a second, staring at the wood grain of my own front door, breathing steady. Outside, I heard muffled voices. Karen whining, Mason trying to reason with her. Then footsteps fading. I went back to my chili, reheated it again, and sat down at the table. Didn't even taste it, but that was fine. I wasn't hungry anymore anyway. I'd barely finished rinsing my bowl when the messages started rolling in. First one, you're heartless. Then, I still love you, but you're acting crazy. A few minutes later, I gave you 2 years and this is how you treat me? Then a string of texts, screenshots of old photos, crying selfies, one message that just said, you broke me, followed by, you never cared about me at all. You used me. And then a shift. Hope you rot alone, asshole. Dozens of messages. Love, hate, guilt, manipulation. Like she was throwing darts blindfolded, hoping something would stick. I muted her number. Didn't block it yet. I figured the more she said, the better the trail. Next morning, I was mid-oil change on a Tacoma when my supervisor flagged me down. HR wants to see you, he said. His face looked tight. I wiped my hands, followed him inside. The HR lady looked tired, like she already regretted the conversation. She filed a complaint, she said. Said you were violent, that you kicked her out and made her homeless. I didn't flinch, just pulled out my phone, opened the messages, then the video from my hallway cam. Karen trying to push past me, then slapping me when I blocked her. Clear as day. She's not on the lease, I said. She left willingly. I've got every text. The HR rep watched for maybe a minute, then nodded. Yeah, we're good. Just block her. Don't engage. I went back to work. An hour later, her sister texted. What the hell did you do to Karen? I replied. She moved in with another man. I moved on. Nothing after that. Not even a bubble. Then her friend, that one girl she used to do yoga with, you can't just change the locks. That's illegal. She's not on the lease. She left voluntarily. Want the texts? Read. No reply. Saturday morning, I saw the email alerts. Attempted logins to my Prime, Hulu, Spotify, all denied. I changed every password already, locked it down tight. An hour later, I got added to a group chat. Just 3 people, me, Karen, and Mason. Karen opened with, "You're being petty. Just give me the passwords." I stared at the screen for a second, then typed back, "Get your own. You've got a whole new household now." Mason left the chat. She sent one more message. "Wow, you really are vindictive." I didn't answer. Didn't need to. Everything she'd done in the past 48 hours had made my case for me. Nate called me that night. "You okay?" "Honestly, I'm good." He laughed. "You're probably the first guy in history to change the Wi-Fi instead of begging her to stay." "Yeah, well, I learned the hard way. Love doesn't mean squat if the respect's gone." Sunday morning, my phone buzzed before I even made coffee. Unknown number. I answered, already guessing. "Hey, it's Mark," the voice said. "Karen's dad. What's going on?" "Her mom is freaking out." He sounded like he hadn't slept. Not angry, just exhausted. Like this wasn't his first time cleaning up after her. He kept it short. "She left to live with another guy for a week. Didn't ask. Just told me." So I packed her stuff, changed the locks, and moved on. There was silence on the other end. Then a long sigh. "You did the right thing, son," he said. "We warned her. This kind of behavior, it's not new." That was all he had to say. Monday morning, I was heading down to get the mail when I saw them. Karen and some guy in a polo with a lockbox and toolkit. She was standing with her arms crossed like she owned the building. I didn't say a word, just walked up slow and waited for her to notice me. The locksmith looked between us. "You live here?" he asked me. "Yep," I said. I pulled out my ID and my lease agreement. "It's in my name." "She's not on it." Karen's eyes darted everywhere but at me. The locksmith turned to her. "You got ID with this address on it?" he asked. She didn't answer, just huffed and looked away. "Sorry," he said. "Can't help you if you're not the tenant. That's illegal." "You're seriously doing this right now?" she snapped at me. "You're humiliating me." I shrugged. "You brought the audience." She glared, then pulled out her phone. "I'm calling the cops." I leaned against the hallway wall. "Go ahead." 15 minutes later, 2 officers showed up. I stayed calm, polite, gave them everything, the texts, the footage of her slapping me, the lease, my ID. Karen tried to cut in with tears and excuses, but they weren't biting. One officer looked at her and said, "You don't have legal residence here. You left voluntarily. You need to leave now." She looked stunned. "But I lived here." The cop was firm. "You weren't on the lease. That matters." She turned to me with wet eyes. "How could you do this? After everything?" I didn't say anything. The officers escorted her out while she kept pleading, switching between sobbing and snarling. I stood in the hallway, arms crossed, just watching. One of the cops stayed behind for a second. "You should file for a restraining order," he said. "This isn't over." I nodded. "Yeah, I believe you." He patted his notepad against his hand, gave me a look like he'd seen this 100 times, then left. I closed the door, locked it, double-checked the peephole, and for the first time in a long time, I finally felt like I had the upper hand. Tuesday morning, I woke up to 5 missed calls from Nate and a barrage of texts. "You seen Facebook?" She tagged me in something. "You're gonna love this." I opened the app. First thing on my feed, a big, dramatic post from Karen. Her profile picture was one of those filtered selfies. Eyes glassy, lips pouted. "After 2 years of emotional manipulation and control, I'm finally free. Currently homeless, but stronger than ever." Sometimes the person you sleep next to turns out to be the villain. Hashtag narcissist, hashtag healing, hashtag wake up call. She tagged mutual friends. Used old pictures of us, ones that made her look happy and me look distant. One from my birthday dinner, where she'd argued with the waitress and stormed out mid-meal. Cropped, of course. The comments rolled in fast. "You deserve better, girl. Men are trash. Proud of you for speaking your truth." Then Jake showed up, my buddy since high school. No filter, no hesitation. "Didn't you move in with Mason last week?" Weird definition of homeless. Silence. Another friend chimed in. "Wait, what?" And just like that, the tide turned. She tried replying to a few vague stuff like, "It's more complicated than that," and "You weren't there, you don't know." By the end of the day, the post was gone. Instagram story, deleted. Her account went private not long after that. I didn't say anything. Didn't have to. Wednesday morning, around 10, I got a text from an unfamiliar number. "Bro, take her back. She's driving me insane." Mason. I stared at it for a second before replying. "No thanks." He didn't wait long. "She won't stop talking about you. Like non-stop. She doesn't work, doesn't help, just spends all day complaining. Spent $200 on sushi delivery yesterday. Sounds like you've got your hands full," I wrote. Another pause, then he came clean. "I screwed up. Thought I was being a good guy. But she's not who I thought she was." I sat on that for a moment, then reminded him, "You played a role in this, Mason. You knew what you were doing." He didn't argue, just replied, "Yeah, I did. Lesson learned." I didn't gloat, didn't rub it in. That wasn't the point. He was finally seeing the full version of her, the one I'd been dealing with for months, quietly trying to reason with, excuse, forgive. The version that turned every bad choice into someone else's fault. Now she was his storm to ride out. And me? I was just enjoying the silence. Thursday morning, I was under my car in the garage, tightening the skid plate bolts, when my phone rang. Number I didn't recognize, looked local. Yeah, I answered. This is building security. There's a woman downstairs, Karen something. Says she lives here. She's yelling about abuse. You want to come handle this? Or should we call the cops? My stomach didn't even drop. I was past that stage. I'll be right there, I said. Start recording. I will too. I cleaned up, grabbed my phone, turned on the voice recorder, and headed down. As soon as I stepped out of the elevator, I heard her. He stole my home. Everything. He changed the locks like I'm some stranger. She was standing near the front desk, pacing in flip-flops and a hoodie, hair wild, mascara smudged. Looked like she hadn't slept. Or maybe she had, just in full makeup again. I didn't raise my voice. I walked up slow and said, "You need to leave." She spun around, eyes wide. "You abused me. I was helping a friend and you threw me out." "Karen," I said, "you packed a week's worth of stuff and moved in with another man. That's not helping. That's relocating." She screamed, loud. "You're sick. You're controlling. You're trying to erase me from my own life." Security stepped in before she could get closer. "Ma'am, you need to leave the premises," the guard said. "I lived here," she yelled. The guard glanced at me. I handed over my lease again, same as before. Pulled out my ID. Karen had neither. After 5 more minutes of her spiraling, they escorted her out. Still yelling. Still crying. Still talking like she was the victim of a kidnapping. I didn't say a word on the way back up. I just went straight to my laptop, printed what I needed, and filed for a temporary restraining order that afternoon. By Friday, the desperation kicked in full force. A buddy texted me, "Hey man, why is there a dating profile of you saying you're into poly women and sugar babies?" I checked. There it was, my name, old photo, completely fake info. Another one popped up a few hours later, different app, same vibe. I flagged and reported them all. Then my credit card company called. Someone tried to add a user to my account. Twice. It got flagged instantly. The login attempt came from an IP I recognized, from a time when she used my laptop. Mason's place. That night, he texted me. "Dude, she's threatening to tell people I hit her if I ask her to leave." I called him. "You're finally catching on," I said. "She said she'll ruin me, that she has screenshots, voice memos, stuff that doesn't even exist. She's testing you. Same cycle every time. Document everything. Screen record her messages. Get a lawyer. Don't wait." He was quiet for a second, then said, "She's not even sleeping. She just stares at her phone all night." I shook my head. "Welcome to my world. She used to seem so cool," he mumbled. "Yeah, until she didn't get her way." I hung up and locked everything down again. Bank accounts, logins, 2-step on every app. I even called Nate to let him know just in case she tried to reach out to family. She wasn't done yet, but I was 10 steps ahead now. No more panic, just preparation. 2 weeks later, I stood outside the county courthouse, folder in hand, everything printed, time-stamped, and clipped together. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't even angry anymore. I was just ready for it to be done. They called my name, then hers. Karen walked in 5 seconds later, wearing all black, hair pulled back, glasses on like she was heading to a funeral, carried a little tissue in her hand like a stage prop. She didn't even look at me. The judge asked us both to sit. Then he said, "Okay, let's hear why a permanent restraining order is being requested." Karen jumped in first. "Your Honor," she started, voice soft, like she was in pain just speaking. "This has been a traumatic experience. I was manipulated, emotionally abused. He isolated me, then threw me out with nowhere to go. I had no warning, no time to prepare. I was locked out of the place I lived for almost a year." The judge held up a hand. "Do you have any documentation to support your claims? Texts, photos, statements?" She hesitated. "Not in writing, no. But I have witnesses. My mother, who's not present." The judge cut in. "Anything else?" Karen blinked fast. That tissue made its way to her eye, dabbing nothing. I didn't say a word, just opened my folder, slid it toward the clerk. Here's a copy of the text where she said she was staying with Mason for the week, I said. Here's the hallway video of her trying to force her way in and slapping me. Here's the police report from when she showed up with a locksmith. These are screenshots of the fake dating profiles, proof of login attempts on my streaming and bank accounts. IP matched Mason's Wi-Fi. The judge glanced over everything, took a deep breath. Then he turned to Karen. Ma'am, I see no indication of emotional abuse here. I see clear, well-documented harassment on your end. She shook her head, voice cracking again. I have nowhere to go. He's made me homeless. I just needed time. And he ripped everything away. He didn't flinch. You left voluntarily. You moved in with another man. He gave you notice. You made your choice, and now you live with the consequences. She covered her face with both hands and started crying for real this time. The judge looked back at me. 2-year restraining order is granted. You are protected at your residence and place of work. She is not to contact you, show up at your home, call, text, or message through third parties. Karen looked up like she couldn't believe it. I loved him, she said, barely a whisper. That may be true, the judge replied, already signing the paperwork. But it's not relevant here. 3 months later, I turned the closet she used to dominate with jackets and tote bags into a clean little office. Just a desk, lamp, and my tools mounted on the wall. Simple, quiet, mine. The apartment stayed peaceful. No drama, no tension in the air. I actually heard myself think again. Then came the update from Nate. Dude, Mason finally kicked her out. Caught her hooking up with his roommate. I didn't even react. She moved back in with her parents. Lost her freelance clients, probably from the same behavior she tried on me. She's working part-time now at a smoothie stand in the mall. Same one she used to call gross when we walked by. Mason, last I heard, he moved to a smaller apartment outside town. No more group hangouts, no invites. Everyone slowly dropped him. He's still paying off a broken TV and console she trashed during one of their fights. I stayed out of it, blocked them both, let them figure out their mess without dragging me back in. Around that time, I met Laura at the hardware store. She asked me for help choosing wall anchors. We got to talking, grabbed coffee a week later, and just clicked. I told her the story. Not all the dirty details, just enough. She laughed and said, "So you know how to set boundaries? Nice. Most guys just ghost." Felt different. Easy. No eggshells, no guessing games. No late-night texts from some childhood friend. A couple weeks after that, I got a call from Karen's dad, Mark. He kept it brief. Said she'd been diagnosed with a personality disorder. Refused treatment. Still blaming everyone but herself. He said, "At least you got out early. We've been living this for nearly 30 years. I thanked him and hung up. Haven't heard anything since. Restraining order held strong. Not a single peep from her after court. It was like she finally ran out of games to play. Nate put it best. She played stupid games and won stupid prizes. Now, I sleep through the night. I eat in peace. I don't walk on eggshells in my own damn home. And next time someone tries to twist my gut instinct into insecurity, I'll listen to my gut. Oh, and yeah, keep your name on the lease. It's your best damn defense."